Hi, everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Just a few hours until we welcome Manchester United to the London Stadium for the 7 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, it's strange when it's 7 o'clock kickoff, but hey ho, these things happen. And as Moyes alluded to in his mentioned in his post-match pre-match press conference on Friday, that it's a common time to have the games on in, say, Spain, for example, when he was obviously Real Sociedad's manager. And I know that they tend to do like evening games on Saturday and Sunday, don't they? So, but well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. West Ham haven't ruined it just yet. Give us a few hours. As the sickness bug takes hold of West Ham, and we'll talk about that during our starting 11 show. In terms of the takeaways from Moyes' press conference on Friday, basically said that, you know, the three that were sick were all training, so he imagines they'll be available. But there's one who's been sent home, who was sent home from training on Friday, and one who did train but felt a bit funny. So we could have another two. Plus, obviously, he mentioned that obviously Vladimir Sufal wouldn't be available. He's still recovering from a thigh issue. I think it was a thigh issue. And we know that Kurt Zuma won't be available just yet. Although the way Moyes spoke about him, he'll be back before the end of the season, I'm pretty sure. He didn't give him a time scale, but he said the boy does heal quickly. And obviously, we know that Scarmacker is obviously out for the rest of the season. So, as we always do, I put together what I think is the starting 11 going to be. It's going to be a bit finger in the air because we don't know. Moyes hasn't said who has got who got sent home ill. It could be one of like Fornals or Lanzini, who probably wouldn't feature, or Ben Rama or something like that. And we don't know the one who's feeling a bit icky. Oh, diddums. Yeah, so we'll, to all of our knowledge, we'll put together an 11. And obviously in the comments, agree, disagree, all that type of stuff. We'll start with the easy one. In goal, Fabianski is in goal, innit? Simple. Now, I think we'll go back to obviously, we played the back three against Man City at the Etihad. I think that was always going to be the plan. I think we'll go back to a back four tonight, to be honest. We'll start right back. I mean, Vladimir Sufal's out. Now, I'm going to put in Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson came on for Sufal with, well, as soon as Sufal went down, they made the change straight away, which tells you that someone, they knew straight away that it was an injury which would have, curtailed his game against City, and he did all right. I mean, he lost his runner, really, didn't he, for the one of the goals? But I think his needs must. I mean, the other option is maybe putting Tilo Kira in there, which he could do, but I'm going to put Tilo in the centre back position. He played centre back on the right hand side against Arsenal, and did a really good job, I thought. Obviously, we had the shock of the first quick goals, but then we came out the blocks a bit better afterwards. I would prefer personally to see Tilo play rather than maybe Ogbonna. The reason being is pace. Man United have got an abundance of pace. It may be that, for example, Tilo goes to the right back, Aged goes to the right side, and then they have Ogbonna on the left hand side. But I prefer players playing on their right foot, on the correct foot. And obviously, that formation would mean that, or that setup would mean that Aged plays off his right foot. He's not as confident when he's playing on his right hand side. When he plays his left hand side, I think he's a lot better. So I would go with Tilo and Aged as the midfield, as the centre back partnership. By reading between the lines of David Moyes, I think Zuma is not that far away. A couple of weeks, probably. I think you probably see him for the last couple of games. Maybe back in time for the second leg of the semi-final, potentially, and then hopefully the final. But I think you'll see he won't be back. He'll be back sooner rather than later. Yeah, That's the way I read it in terms of Zuma's comeback. I don't think it's as bad as we all thought initially. And then on the left hand side, I think if we're going to a back four, I think he'll play Cresswell. He's having some sort of renaissance, isn't he? Playing left back. I thought against Arsenal, I thought he was fantastic against Bukayo Saka. I didn't even know Saka was playing until he missed the penalty. And I thought he played quite well against Liverpool as well. So, two sides at home, with really quick wingers and didn't really get too done for pace. And even if you did, you've got the likes of Aged on the right hand side with Ben Johnson. You've got Tilo Kehrer, both very quick centre backs in terms of covering. So I think you cover both sides quite nicely there. In terms of where are we? In terms of midfield, I think Souček comes back in. He obviously came back from illness. I think if he's fit or if he's 80% fit, I think Moyes plays him, because it's his general. He sits there, he blocks things, and allows the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Lucas Paqueta to get more forward, which is what we need. We need obviously a couple of goals, because we know United are always good for a couple of goals as well. So I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a high scoring draw. I think, to be honest, on at 7:00 tonight. Obviously at 7:00 it'll be a draw because we haven't kicked off. But after the game, I mean. Alongside him, Declan Rice, captain, job done. And then the top one of that little triangle, I think Lucas Paqueta, definitely that more advanced role suits him. And I thought he was, particularly that City game, he did really well considering who he was playing against and just the talent they had. And I think he was warming into the game. I think he looked, he was probably looked on par with some of the Man City players, if that made sense, in terms of just how well he plays and his ball play. And it seems that people are starting to click in with him, And, we've got Aaron Cresswell for his set plays as well. We've got Souček back in there as well. So, that's what I think we'll probably end up trying to do, some set plays. It's going to be a bore, it's going to be Man United, a lot of possession. We know how they're going to play. We know how West Ham are going to play. And that's what we're going to have for the next few weeks, isn't it? Really, while we're trying to eke out a couple more points just to make doubly sure. On the right-hand side, Bowen. And obviously, this side is on the assumption that none of these 11 have been sent home sick or are the ones who are feeling a bit icky after training. But I think Bowen comes in. Bowen keeps his spot. Started every Premier League game this season. That will continue. And unless he gets injured, he will for the rest of the season. It's almost like a play you put straight on the team sheet already. Right hand side now. Is this time to release the Cornet? Is this the time? Benny hasn't been doing it for me for weeks. I'll be honest. Hasn't been doing it for me for weeks. I think with the lack of, with Johnson and Cresswell as fullbacks, you haven't got. When Emerson plays left back, he brings the ball forward. He's very much a forward-thinking fullback. Same as Soufal. Soufal is very good at getting forward. We haven't got anything like that. So I think, personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Cornet getting the nod, and just by his sheer pace, would hope that Wan-Bissaka would have to sort of hang back a little bit, because any balls over the top, Cornet is going to do the likes of whoever's the defenders that, whether it's Lindelof, whether it's Maguire, he'll do them for pace. Do them for pace in a foot race, innit? So you think that would assume that Wan-Bissaka must then hopefully can't sort of get forward as much. We might see Aaron being our right back next season, I'll be honest. And then it's got to be Mikel Antonio, isn't it, really? It's going to be Antonio. I don't think it's a really tricky side to pick. We had a bit of squad rotation on Wednesday, mainly because of illness. Because even if those three were fit, they were all due to start, I think. So the likes of Souček, Rice, and Aged were all due to start. So not by design, but by accident, they all got rests, but they still have been sick. So they're not going to be 100%. but they haven't played a game. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think we're sort of a little bit down to the bare bones. I think that gives us 20 senior players. I think so. You would assume they'd put some of the kids on the bench. We would have West Ham are due to play Spurs on Sunday. It might be Sunday morning for a relegation 6-pointer, really. So in the PL2 South under 21s. So you may well see some of the 18s, maybe. But then again, they've got the game against Man City on next Wednesday for the playoff championship thing at the Etihad. So, yeah, down to bare bones a little bit, aren't we? But that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Particularly in terms of Cornet, when are we going to see him play? I think it gives him a good opportunity to on Wednesday, on Saturday, later on today to see him play. And then obviously after that, it's all roads point on the stadium for the AZ Alkmaar game. So end of the day, there we go. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, my friends. Keep the faith. Come on, you Irons. Don't forget I'm going to say wash your hands. I'm going back to wash your hands. There's a lot of sickness going about at the moment, isn't it? We know. Anyway, take care.